Okay, let's get this ball rolling. Now I'm going to go ahead and start with something that I talked about yesterday that I needed to do for later on this weekend. So I'm going to set these SU-76s aside for just a little bit. What the hell is all over this? Oh, we got hand sanitizer. That's what we should be using. So I got this set in the last convention. This AK third generation paints, and up to that point, I'd sometimes called my MiG ammo paints AKs, but I never had AK ones. And there's a whole lot of drama between MiG ammo and AK and all that stuff. I'm not going to get into that. Let's just say I wasn't expecting it. But I mean, even without having multiple companies break off and do different products and so forth, even with just something like Viejo, which I'm very familiar with, they reinvent their colors all the time, and it really drives me crazy. Um, I did this card of basically the discontinued brown violet for the olive drab for that. This is just Viejo, and they discontinue colors and add other colors, and it gets really confusing. So um, I was planning on painting my counter scheme for the British vehicles using Ammo MiG paints, and I wanted to get this set from Ammo MiG, which I'm familiar with. I use their stuff, and I really like it because I can use it in the airbrush without thinning it at all. Um, of course, if you brush paint with it, supposedly you can do both. You can't really brush paint with the Viejo with the Ammo MiG. It's too watery, and I thin all my paints down when I hand paint it, but it's like one step too watery. Um, so there's ways you can get around that, but it's great for airbrushing. I tried airbrushing these, and the opposite happened. Actually, I don't know if these are good for hand painting, but they're not good for airbrushing the way they are. So I brought some AK acrylic thinner, swatches of this, and I actually don't know where I got this from, but this is like, now see, this is better than Ammo MiG because it gives you a little tray for these things to sit in, and they don't slide all over the place. So I'm going to do a test run um, of the slate and the silver gray, which are the other two colors. Because we've got this little guy here. This is actually painted in using the AK paints, the ammo paints. Damn it, man! It's impossible to say one thing and mean something else. But I'm going to try these colors. I'm going to put the little swatches of these two, along with the equivalents that I found online. Had I not found these, of what to use with Viejo equivalents. So let me find this particular site that this guy did. Yeah, so here's a site. This is yeah, just view it. That's fine. This is a great site where this guy did. Is this Gale Force 9? Gale Force 9. Yeah, it's beautiful examples there. But then he goes and this is what's really annoying about paint is he gives you equivalents in the non-standard Vallejo colors, meaning worn canvas, crusader sand, Tommy green, grenadier green. Those three colors aren't part of the model color line. They're specific colors that were made for Flames of War. And I'm sorry, I had this like cough all of a sudden that came out of nowhere. I think I was eating something and it went down the wrong way, so hopefully it doesn't bother you too much. Hey, Hugh, what's happening? So this actually isn't the site. Um, you know me, I'm never prepared. So this is the AK counter scheme, and let's confirm it's the same colors. Portland Stone 11378. Yep, that's what they call it here. And Light Stone is 11377. Okay. So I actually sprayed this Portland Stone on this model. And it looked horrible. It looked wrong. It had way too much yellow in it. That doesn't mean I won't use it. And it started spraying like silly string. I was using paint. Worked fine. Put this in, silly string. Went back to the other paint, worked fine. So I'm gonna try to thin this with this, but I'm not so worried about the base color because we're gonna roll with this with the Ammo Mig base color. But I want to get these other two, but I want to compare them to the other one, which let me do a shit. I can picture the guy's website that he has. And he used the Vallejo equivalents. Because there's a good chance I'm going to have to hand paint those. I'll tell you what. I'm burning through freaking time. Let's do silver gray. I'm going to put it up here, and then I'm going to put its equivalent down here below it. I can find it. I just don't know where it is. Yeah, caffeine's really messing me up these days. I had a little bit of coffee at like 7 p.m. Try to stay away and paint. Wasn't able to paint too long. Went to bed. Couldn't go to sleep. Woke up multiple times. Had every single dream on earth happening all at once. No nightmares, but just like, man, let me rest. Woke up at 3:21 a.m. Couldn't go back to sleep. Tried and tried. I'm like, fuck this. We're gonna start our morning. Well, I guess you got to mix it up even more. Let's do I have mixing balls handy? I have them. I just don't know if they're handy. They are. Okay. Let's drop one of those in there. Probably should have done this differently. I do all my own stunts. I'm not dropping two. I'm just going to drop one in each. I like this better. I like the screw top better. Nobody's paying me to say anything, so if something sucks, I'm going to let you know. You don't have to agree with me. I'm just saying, there's a lot of people out there that are the spin untruths just because they're being promoted by somebody. Or they just like politics, I hope these work out because otherwise I wasted $22. Man, this stupid cough. Bloody cough. Let's use something a little bit more oomph. But maybe a brush that we don't have to deal with right this second, man. Let's see here. Mr. Jeffrey, decaffeinated in my mid-50s due to similar problems. My sleep improved. I limit myself to occasional cup of tea, which has a sixth of the caffeine. Yeah, well, I don't have a tea maker. I don't like hot tea. I don't drink hot coffee. You know, my fifties, huh? Man, the fifties suck. I don't feel like I'm in my fifties, but guess again, mortal. All right, this is silver gray, and I'm gonna go ahead and before I get too carried away. I don't know about that. Let's try this one. Be careful. AK, 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 AK. So I don't put ammo meg. 11374. Silver gray number 28. That's a mouthful. Looks a little bit like Sky. One of the. There's a, if I want to say color on my Spitfire that's suggested to be in this color. Seems a bit gritty compared to Vallejo. And you know, you look anything up, and there's always naysayers like Vallejo Air isn't any good. Like I make my own decisions. I take everything with a grain of salt, but I make my own decisions. You know, I can tell you that the ammo MIGs, airbrush colors, you don't have to thin them at all. My airbrush, or at least the way I airbrush, I don't have to thin them. There we go. And what's this? Slate number 34. Did this freaking wrong. AK 11375. Slate number 34. I figure on white is probably be the most accurate representation. I believe this is the color that the other guy said use German uniform for. I was like, what? Get out of the city. But I use all these paints. I don't use the Army Painter paints as much. I have a few of those. I don't really like how they cover. These actually seem to cover like that. I like the Army Painter washes. You tried iced lemon tea, but that's an acquired taste. I drink chamomile tea and other infusions now. Oh, I like Earl Grey. Or all those British breakfast things. They're great. They're wonderful. I don't like the taste of coffee, but this gets you going. Sometimes too much, though. All right, let's find that website. And it's I could see his page. That's originally what I was going to use. Turn off my incoming alarm. Yes, I don't need to turn it off. I'm good. Ready to be scared? No. Stop sending me junk mail on my phone, damn it. Yeah, counter scheme doesn't exactly look like that. As wishful thinking as that is. Okay. Yeah, looks kind of like this. And that's pretty close approximation to those colors. Well, Well, you know, here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and roll with these. I'm not going to do the other matches right now because if I don't use these, I wanted to get the set from Ammo Mig. Didn't have it in the store, so I ended up going to their website and getting the base color from Ammo Mig because you can buy them individually. I could have bought all the colors too, but I didn't. I just bought those other two because I remember that website that one guy recommended which Vallejo colors to use. So I was going to use that, and then I saw this at a convention and one of the vendors, and I'm like, I'll pick it up. But I don't like the base. But when I tried to spray this, it didn't work well. So, but I've got to thin the Vallejo if I use the Vallejo anyways, and I got to thin this too. So it's not like I have a AK solution that doesn't need to be thinned. So, and I'm going to have to hand paint some stuff on it, you know, tinker with it. So I'd rather have. I don't mind having paint that I have to hand paint that works well for hand painting, because I'm doing airbrushing, but it's only to save time, really. All right, now let's. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Well, we'll mess with that later this evening, even though nobody gave an answer on this bloody A13. That's a problem child trying to figure out, trying to get a 1/72nd scale model that has the correct version. I want an A13 Mark IV-A. And the only one I've been able to find involves buying the conversion kit from Dan Taylor Model Works. Okay, so I cut off last night because I needed to do some decal ideas or marking ideas for the SU-76. And I didn't realize that of all the vehicles I've ever painted that I've ever looked for markings for, the most uninspiring markings ever on any vehicle, except maybe the T35. The T35 sucks as well, because most of them don't have any markings, is this vehicle. The markings on this vehicle suck. I came up damn near empty-handed on everything. 2-digit codes, 3-digit codes, a couple slogans, but they're like April 1945. I'm sorry, this vehicle in 1945 is useless. Well, it's better than not having one, but I mean, it doesn't even have a coax machine gun. This is a Crash Boom 76mm gun. What is it, 76mm L39, I believe? That's it. A lot of rounds for it, though. It carried a lot of rounds. I'm surprised on a small little chassis. And I think the chassis was relatively reliable. So I'm going to look one more place. Something I couldn't do in bed because I don't have this book in bed with me. So let me take a look and see if there's anything of value here at all. And this is the Order of Battle, Red Army, World War II, and I know that I think there's some photos in here. There's some illustrations. So I'm gonna do a quick glance. I'd like to do one like around Kursk, you know, when they first came out. Okay, I know that there's some drawings in here. Here we go. Thought there was. I must be getting this mixed up with something else. Eric Grove, World War II tanks. We're going to look in here really quick. Don't care about all the other. And some of these colors are off. I get it. This is an older book. Like, here's the Stewart. Like, yeah, that's a creative paint scheme right here. That's not what it looked like. But this book's like from the 1970s, so I don't care about the United States. BT series, right? T26. Show me Soviet Union. Come on. Is there even an SU-76 here? It's books like this I should just get rid of. Like, why is this? Oh, there it is. Oh, I'll just do markings like this one right here. Okay, they're done. There's literally no markings on it at all. Oy. So anyways, I did a search. I got a couple other things, but I'm coming up empty-handed. I'm not going to do a snow one. If I want a snow one, I could do something. I don't mind doing snow, but I want to do snow for 42, 43. These guys weren't out yet. So. Okay. So, I took some photos, or at least I saved some pictures. The only thing I found really of worth was these ones that are done on Victrix and 12 millimeter, and they're wonderful, and they look like Ruben's work, but they just have like 72, 71 on them. I don't want them to all be part of a unit. I literally came up empty-handed, completely. Even looking for decals and stuff, just completely empty-handed. I mean, something that just, just didn't click. You have all these decals, and they're all jumbled on top of each other. And I found another page here that had some things, but even the stuff from Tamiya and stuff, just none of it was inspirational. I've never seen a vehicle that's just been this uninteresting for markings. So the best one that I found was actually this one right here. It's made by SG Modeling. And it's in Russian or something like that. It's for the Zvezda thing. And the only thing I can make out is what year they're from. Oh, and then it also says, enjoy your hobby down here. Alex Aftermarket. All right, so we're going to make one of them. I mean, it's literally like boring as shit. I could make my own, but this is April 1945. That's way too late. May 20th, 1945. No. So we got a big 53 here. We got like a curly Q 53 there. And we're going to do that as one of them. We're going to make, this one's going to be 53. I mean, I could make 52. Just something that's just kind of an inspiration. And there's one here that looks like it drove through the wrong neighborhood. Of course, it's got an eagle on it, which means that's a free Poland thing. Free it from Nazism and then turn it to communist. I don't do those things. But this 53 has a 53 up here. So that's kind of a unique. And another one down here in the back. So we'll do that one. And it's kind of an artsy 53. An artsy fartsy 53. So that's what we're going to do. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab, see if I have a palette that's blue. I mean, that's clean. I don't want to go clean a palette right now. I probably don't. Well, a little shim will work just fine. But we're using a very small amount of paint, just so it stands out easy. Let's get our Vallejo white. Didn't have regular white, so I had to pick up cool white, because, you know, that makes all the difference. White be white. And where there's white, there must be black. This one I'm not going to see, but we don't need very much of that. All right, and I don't know if I need to use the super paintbrush. This isn't that small. Well, I can already tell this one's already. All right. No flow aid. That's kind of become not in fashion anymore for me. So I'm going to sketch a 53 on here and see what we do. Mix us a little bit of gray to use as my sketch. And it looks like it's in the middle of this, right here in the middle of this thing. Well, this is like a wild 5. No, we need it a little bit brighter. We're not going to be able to see it. And then on the 3, the top one's bigger. I don't know if I want to do that. That looks really weird. That the top part of the 3 is bigger. We're not going to do that. But it is kind of weird like that. Kind of over the top-ish. That's basically the shape that we're going to do on all of them. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of them in that style. So over here we're up against this, and it's not in the middle. You know what? I'm going to put it in the middle because it makes more sense. Okay, there's one there. I'm going to put one on this side as well. And then one down here on the hood. The hood on the front. It looks like it's even with up here. Okay, so we got the 53s and all are going to go. Now, these ends are a lot curlier, so let's go ahead and add more of this white. let's go over them again. Like I said, really uninspiring. Oh, this is up, isn't it? Nope. Yep, yes it was. Like something feels off. If I'm painting and I'm not like really comfortable, something's wrong. Something's not where it should be. It's a little artsy looking. We had a guy back in the 80s that did a lot of local stuff. I don't know who it is. Might have been a woman. I don't know. It was a guy is non-denominational that did a bunch of lettering and stuff for people. Like you'd see businesses and there'd be this one like hand brush style. You know, like let's say you had an auto parts shop. This is one of the first places we knew these people had an auto repair place. And everything that was lettered on their vehicle and everything that was lettered on like they had like one company vehicle and on the sign of their store was all done in this guy's lettering. And it had a particular style where you could tell that, oh, that guy had done that. And this guy must have been like a traveling salesman, like went around different businesses and said, hey, you want something lettered? And they did, and I'm sure with enamel paint, a paintbrush. But you could tell what this was, what the handiwork of this person was just as soon as you saw it. And this is the same thing. If you actually look at these three numbers, the numbers on all these, on this particular set on the 53, all of them are the same. So it's almost like it's a decal that's made that way. Well, I find that kind of hard to believe. If they just given some Ivan, they would have just given him a paintbrush in here. You go to town. I'm going to have another bottle. You go to town. Find the artsiest person on the crew, and you're designated to be the one that does the numbers. The artsiest Russian. Yeah, I went to bed pretty early, couldn't sleep. Tossed and turned for an hour, eventually got to sleep. Woke up at 3:21. Stayed in bed for 45 minutes. I'm like, F this. I mean, if I gotta take a nap, I gotta take a nap, but woke up in bed, heard a little owl. There's an owl in the pine trees. I actually like hearing him. I don't hear well, so he must have been loud for me to hear him. Getting all excited. now we're going to come in with the pure white and do that. Woke up this morning, I was freezing. Of course, I was having breakfast. And I have a cold breakfast, so I'm sure I had something to do with it. All right, 53. This barrel's kind of in the way, so I'm just kind of seeing double vision, trying to see around it. On the decal, they actually had the two parts that make up the three. They had the top one a lot bigger than the small one. And I'm like, yeah, I could do that, but it even looks wrong on the decal. So they both need to be the same size, or the bottom one needs to be a little bit bigger. Otherwise, it falls over. You can't put a small block and then put a big block on top of it. It falls over. Comrade. No little brigade markings, nothing. Okay. Yeah, it looks okay. Of course, it's not weathered, so. Yeah, I'll look at decals, but I have no intention of buying them. And not because I'm cheap, just because, well, first of all, I want to do it right now. And second of all, these things were hand painted, so why not hand paint them on there? Now, sometimes things are hand painted and a little too crude, so you can fix that. There's 53. What else is on here? We're not going to do the free Polish one. There's a 27. It's interesting because it has a 27 up here at the front here too. Much smaller numbers. Let's do 27 on that one. Oh, this one has it on a little door back here. Okay. There's a couple different styles. I like the one like it's done on the back. And it's really narrow and like done unprofessionally. Oh, it's got a curly on the bottom of the two. Okay. So I'm getting close to just saying, you know what? I'm not going to paint in the evenings anymore. Because it's really throwing me off sleeping. I'm just not able to get to sleep. Most of you guys watch in the mornings anyways. Little 27 there. And it is kind of rough looking. Oh, it's got a little bit more of a hook on the front of the top of the tube. We'll come straighten that out. It's kind of diminutive here on the side. It's funny, this one's down here at the bottom, and on the other side it's up towards the top. Boy, these people have a drinking problem. I actually had trick-or-treaters the night before last. I don't know how many we had. We didn't have, but we just put our candy out there and go have a couple of adult beverages. I took a cup like this and poured it full of Irish whiskey. Never even had a buzz. Drank, I don't know, maybe this much of it. Just sipped on it for, I guess we're out there 2.5 hours. Yeah. Watching the kids and surfing on the phone. Guess that's what old people do. All right, same thing over here. This one doesn't have one on the front plate, does it? Yeah, it actually does. Kind of hard to get in here where the mufflers are at. But we did it. All right, let's come in here with a little bit more white paint. And what we'll do is we'll weather in the opposite order that I did them in. I actually I like that 53 style a lot. let's use pure white. How are these? Where'd I put them, anyways? Well, I tell you what, I can't see anything if it's over here. Yeah, I think those colors will be good. Marcus, how many tanks did you order from what's his face? The Chad. The hanging Chad. Vehicles. Six vehicles, okay. I'm gonna do one of them paint schemes like a Gazalo with the what's that thing called? Grant. Okay, this can sit off to the side. We got 23 and 53 and 27. What else do we have here? This one has a little, like a little brigade symbol. It's a big old 45. I'm going to do this 46 on this one. I guess all of them have this number up here. It's kind of unusual. That's a strange looking 4. 2 Italian, 1 car, 1 truck, 2 Germans, Panzer II and Panzer III for African Corps, 2 British, Grant and a Firefly. I did tell you what I ended up getting from talking about. It was $13. First of all, it was $15. I'm like, I don't really need this. And I'm like, you got an offer for $13. I'm like, all right. Well, it's still $20 by the time you add up the shipping and the taxes, which, you know. Oh well. 88 millimeter shouldn't be too deadly on when everything's 200 meters or less. Now, one of the scenarios I was looking at, actually, the distance is limited to 36 inches, the viewable distance due to this dusty conditions. Well, we're going to need this up because this is a very stylish. Man, my stomach is just out of control. Must not like this coffee. I don't know. Maybe this coffee machine makes coffee that's just like evil. Okay, these numbers are towards the top. That's good. Let's get the basic shape on this one. I'd probably be better off just using different grays, but old habits die slowly. Yeah, hopefully it's not terrible. I never have been a huge fan of ancillary stuff. But the Revell one is super expensive. Like they make one that comes with the SDKFZ7. I'm like, perfect. It's like $50 and no crew. I'm like, we need a crew. You know, there's no point in having a gun with no crew. Although when I'm finished this, remind me and I'm going to read you off that scenario. It's pretty freaking cool. Okay, so what'd you think of the vehicle rules? I was expecting to be a little bit more less generic. They're actually fairly generic. Yep, don't like how that turned out at all. Then it's done in the wrong style. Okay. Take two. Action. Mourn. What are you mourning for? I'm glad my friend Mr. Ben Wadi decided to come by. Like, oh man, I got a viewer that's Arab. Cool. Nope. Just white dudes. Just pasty white dudes. You're mourning for sleeping? I couldn't sleep. It's not like it's stressful. It's just like annoying. Like, fuck this. I'm gonna get up. And my wife's on the opposite schedule. She'll get in bed and she's up till like 1 in the morning. That's better. I like that 46 better. Go on, not exactly that style. That's kind of just a weird style 46. Not like, ugly weird, just odd. I'm not putting one at the front. I don't care if this one gets it or not. Just to be different, so vary it a little bit. Yeah, I found that the rules are pretty generic, but that allows me to add some. You can put on fez on it if needed. What's those things? What's that thing that old? What was that dude that was always the Palestinian guy in the Middle East forever? Arafat. Remember he'd wear the little tablecloth from the Italian restaurant? When they got those little round tables in those Italian restaurants? Red and white. It's Arab tartan. And they're all the same clan. It's always red and white. It's Clan Maharba. Okay, 46. And then we'll put a happy little 46 back here. Arab tartan. Just pasty white dudes, no women either. Well, I gotta do something about getting more female viewers. I don't. Women aren't into this, unfortunately. My wife would be like, I showed these to my mom. Like, I got all my World War II stuff. She was coming by the other day, and I said, hey, look at all this stuff I refurbed. She's like, they all look the same. I'm like, okay, I get it. Whatever. The fabric for those head clothes was made in a local weaving mill for many years, I think until the 50s or 60s. Same place? Huh, that's cool. I wonder why they picked that pattern. Because, and I kid about tartan, it's not tartan, but tartan patterns. There's some tartan patterns that are just ugly. I'm just saying, they just are, And there's some of them that look pretty cool. And I don't have a clan tartan because my people don't wear dresses. We wore manly stuff like, hose. Everybody wore silly shit in the past. No, but there's some tartan patterns I think that look terrible. And my the mother-in-law ended up going to Scotland on a trip several years ago and brought me back a scarf, which I'm like, what the hell do I need a scarf for in Florida? And you're right, you don't really need a scarf for in Florida, but when you go to New York or when you go to Canada, I wear one. I really enjoyed wearing one. I mean, it was like a fashion statement. And the scarf that she got me had a tartan pattern. I don't remember which clan. I knew you were going to ask me that. I know you didn't ask me that, but you thought. It was predominantly gray. And I loved it. I loved wearing it. I thought it was super cool. You've seen what bullfighters wear. Yeah, that's taking it to the extreme. They still look badass compared to what those little Greek guys wore with the pom-poms on their shoes. That's like that should have like a big like brawl of like all the biggest candy ass dressed people throughout the history. Not now, because they've gone to the extremes now. But I'm talking, you could get the Ephazones, right? That's what those guys are called, the Greek Presidential Guard or whatever. Those guys are way up there on the silliest outfit. Those guys that sit around Buckingham Palace, that's a pretty silly ass outfit. I mean, beef eaters. Or whatever the hell they're called. Cute little 46. I made the one on this side actually a little smaller on purpose, so I don't have to fight this muffler. You know what I find is super creepy that they wear in Spain? Those things for Easter. Like those, they look like, well, they look like KKK things, but those, Inquisition type things. That's some creepy shit. Like, why are you hiding your face? If you're hiding your face, man, like, did you see the video of the 2500th anniversary of the Persian Empire with the Iranians in the classical dress from back then? No, I didn't. Is it in Iran? Okay, so here we have our numberings. We're going to go do our weatherings now. I did not. Did they use a lot of purple? Because that's what traditionally, there's a lot of purple, and whether that's right or wrong, you'll see like all those Persian guys. A lot of like their standard soldiers are depicted wearing purple. Was back with the Shah. Okay. No, I did not. This should do. Where art thou, U.S. Field Drab? We're just gonna do it right here. That's not gonna work. Or is it? Yeah, it'll work. Just a little. Got too much paint on there. Too much dried paint. I thought I could get away with not cleaning it. No, and I haven't watched that footage. It's a Mussolini type footage of when they're fighting Hannibal or something like that, right? They did no, we gotta clean this thing out. What's that thing, the one that's done in the 30s where they supposedly killed live elephants and stuff? Like, that's not cool, man. Elephants are... That's why people don't like fascists, man. Why you gotta be doing shit like that? Killing real elephants. Zama, was it Zama that they did? It must have been Zama. You fascist elephant killer. Yeah, there's some animals I like more than others, and elephants are one of them. Whales are another one. I like whales. I like these animals that are, they're animals and they, but somehow I feel, well, this is weird. This is like made out of like straw or some shit like that. Maybe we need a new brush for that. Weird acting brush. There's some animals I just think that they're like a lot smarter than we think they are. Whales, dolphins, shit like that. People think cows are stupid. I think cows just don't give a shit. 3 loyal followers. It's you three, man. It's you three regulars. At night, I've been having like 4 people. There's a couple nights, not last night, but there's a couple nights, 4 or 5 people, like nobody says anything. And I'm like, that's fine if you want to sit there and, play with yourself while you're watching my show. That's just fine. But, it's kind of hard to stay motivated because I don't, I'm having a one-way conversation unless I'm caffeined up. I don't care if people play with themselves or watch my show. Hey, it keeps them from messing with kids. Not that kind of show. The sad thing is there was at least one person that watched my DBA videos and actually did want to see Mitch's feet. Might have only been one person, but there was that one person. Much better. Yeah, I needed to have like a tighter pattern on the weathering. It was like too smothered. I'm kind of going for like an airbrush look. Like, how do you make this look airbrush without airbrushing? You fade quickly now at around 9:30. You start to get tired. Me too, man. You know what? We may not feel like we're in our 50s, but we are. What the hell was that? Not another Amber Alert. I'll go grab the pitchforks. So I'm going to finish these things up because I'm on the cusp of it, but then we're going to go to the desert. We're going to go to the desert for a little bit. Yeah, it looks airbrushed. Well, it looks better than airbrush. I'm never going to be this good airbrushing, and I'm getting better airbrushing, but and it's mostly because of the trigger. That's actually the only reason I'm doing this kind of stuff like this whole like kind of filling in the panels and stuff like that, because it forces me to work on trigger control. All right, the inside of this thing is probably going to be a mess, isn't it? Let's see how much stuff is on here. Wipe your feet before you get inside, said no one ever. So if you guys have ever built these, I don't know if they're the same in 15 millimeter, but this particular piece sits on the tiniest little spot on here. You've got this whole thing that's balancing on a tiny little spot underneath there. You can't tell. I was really leery gluing that together. Just kind of strange. I wasn't expecting that. Okay. Okay, leave myself a little bit of room because we still have the Iraqi sand to do on top of it. I think it'll look fine when we're done. I can make my own designs, but I'd like my stuff to be grounded in reality. Yeah, the PSE SU-76s didn't glue the guns in. Is that what I'm talking about? If you look underneath, oh good, this is a good thing to have. I'm going to do a cross section of this, okay? And I'll hold it up. I don't know if I can do that. All right, so I'm going to do a cross section of this. Let's do it this way. All right, square like this. And you got the breech. Something satisfying about sketching things with a pencil that has a soft lead. Quickie version here. Okay, so here's the cross-sectional piece on the gun. And I'm going to exaggerate this, but the hole it sits on, where it needs to fit, it's sitting on like that much before the opening. I don't have it sitting down, but it's sitting on like a millimeter. Instead of it being like fully grounded on this, it's not. It's just barely sitting on there. And I was really concerned it was going to fall off where it needs to sit. So you just barely make it up. There's like a little lip down here at the bottom. And then it sits on that. And below that, let's see if I can see it. Yeah, it's hardly sitting on it at all. Really, really weird. Really, really weird. Yes, you just perched it there so you could elevate the gun. It's a tight fit. Oh, you didn't. You didn't glue this at all. Oh yeah, I don't want the gun elevated. It looks silly, like up in the air, like you just don't care. I don't know. My Panzerjäger 1 isn't glued in, but it's a tighter fit on mine. I don't know. Maybe this was a tight fit, and I didn't give it room to. I don't know. Too late now. I'm happy with the way they look. Whoa, too much. Hello. want this to be fairly weathered because they probably never clean these things. And also, just add a little bit of color to this and add a little bit of variation to it because it's honestly a pretty plain vehicle. You didn't use glue. Well, you know what? I wouldn't either if it fits in there well. Although I did finally glue the JS2 top and the bottom. Yeah, there's no point using glue if you don't need to. The black lining is going to make all the difference in the world on this puppy. I haven't forgotten about that 88. I'll go look at that scenario. It's pretty cool. I think I'm just going to use painter's tape to mark this thing off. I'm not going to go and buy overpriced Tamiya tape, or I probably have it at Hobby Lobby. I don't think I need to. I did a little test run with it, and I think it'll work just fine. You know, that blue painter's tape? I got a lot of that. That's why, you know, for actually painting stuff in 1-to-1 scale, which I'm not a fan of doing. Mainly because you make a mess. I don't care how careful you are. You always make a mess painting in 1-to-1 scale. Especially a roof. I'm sorry, a ceiling. You can be careful as shit, you still get them tiny little splatter things everywhere. So what'd you think of the vehicle rules the other day? Yeah. Ben called it though. The tracks fell off. Oh man. We build our things gulag tough. Before I do the Iraqi sand, I'm going to read that 88 millimeters. I don't know when you're going to have to leave to start cooking. It's a scenario towards the back. And I believe this only goes through brevity. Oh, it's not the one with a shitload of Matildas. Is it? It's an optional force. Well, it's a scenario called Fort yeah, it does have a shitload of Matildas. It's called Fort Capuzzo. And the funny thing is remember the length of my board? The table out there is 102 inches. So this is 8 feet. So this is actually shorter than that table. So the table is a little narrower than this, or the island is a little narrower than this, but even longer than this. So technically, I could do it out there, but it seems rather restrictive. But it's rather a restrictive game. Gruppe Herf. The Germans have elements of Gruppe Herf, including portions of the 2nd Machine Gun Battalion and 5th Panzer Regiment, 5th Light Division. 2 Panzer III Gs, enters on turn 1 to 4, roll a D, roll a dice. 2 Panzer III Gs, enters on turn 5 to 8. 2 Panzer III Gs entered 7 to 9. 2 Panzer IIs enter 2 to 5. Well, this is interesting that they all come at different times. So all the tanks, none of them appear on the board. So what do you actually have? An anti-tank platoon. Anti-tank platoon HQ. It basically has 6, like a half squad, and then a Pack 37. Well, a Pack 36. I got one of those. That's a lot of German tanks. 6 Panzer IIIs, 4 Panzer IIs. And they could get more Panzer IIs, more Panzer IIIs. If they're all 18 or 20, this is the one. 88 on the way. If the German player passes the first defensive integrity roll, no further rolls are taken. An 88mm gun is en route to shore up the defenses. The gun enters at the optional 88mm gun entry area. It takes 2 turns to set up. It does not need to be unhitched from the SDK of Z7. 2 turns, that's a long time. That's 20 vehicle impulse phases. What's the 88mm? So I guess the Germans on the defense? Oh, it enters down here. Now the Germans set up on this half of the board, and there's a stone wall, and the 88 could show up there. Well, the problem is the British have 6 Matildas and 3 Cruiser Mark IIAs, which are, as far as I can tell, A10s with the 3.7mm howitzer. So that's 4 A10s with a howitzer and 6 A10s with a howitzer and 6 Matilda 2s. 4th Battalion Royal Tank Regiment. But wait a second. If a tank regiment is basically a battalion, what's a battalion of the tank regiment? I guess that would be a company. I guess that would be the 4th company of the 7th Royal Tank Regiment. I've never heard of subdivisions of that being called that. So no British infantry. And they can have a 7th Matilda that's a command one. Well, you know, after playing with the vehicles, you know, the most unwieldy part of the vehicles is to have a vehicle on each sheet of paper. I think they don't need to do that. Have them, you know, I think I can clean up how the vehicles are presented. I wouldn't use a sheet of paper for them anymore. You know, there's a lot of wasted space on there. It's not needed. Population battle axe. Let's see. Battle axe is June, right? May. Maybe it's brevity. Hold on, I'll be right back. Yeah, Operation Brevity. Operation Brevity is a really should be called Operation Briefity because there's a really small amount of vehicles and forces involved. 3 infantry battalions for the British and 53 tanks. 206 casualties, 5 tanks destroyed, 6 aircraft destroyed. Any operation has a name that only 6 aircraft got destroyed. That's pretty lame. And then the Germans had elements of several battalions, or the Axis forces, I should say. 605 casualties, 3 tanks destroyed. All right, well, I want the numbers of I want the actual turret numbers of the German tanks destroyed. You should be able to find that, right? But that's actually a terrible scenario, now that I look at it. Because you've got a Pac 36, which can hurt the A-10, can't touch a Matilda. I mean, not even close touching a Matilda. But you have an infantry squad. What are they going to do? There's nothing in the core British force that has any infantry. So, why even have them? What are they going to do? What's the platoon leader, the sergeant, the MG-34 gunner, and the assistant and the 2 riflemen going to do? They're not going to do anything. There's nothing they can do. I mean, unless the variable attachment, unless the British roll 17 to 20, it gets on a D20. They get a motorized infantry squad on a truck. That's it. Other than that, they have no infantry. That anti-tank platoon HQ is just shouldn't even be there. That's just, you know, you're pulling tokens and doing nothing with that. You know, that's like a bad scenario. So I'm really looking at these like from the standpoint of like well, here's another scenario. Panzers at the wire. Okay, the Australians get an infantry squad and a 2-pounder. Okay, cool. What do the Germans get? Some Panzer IIIs and a Panzer II. No infantry. There's zero option for infantry for the Germans. So what does this Australian squad do? Sits there, takes it. You know, it's like, that's not a good scenario. That's a worthless scenario. It might have happened in real life, but, you know, I don't want to do that. You know, here's a good force. .209. Here's some Australians. It's got a squad of Australians. Okay, I got those. 2-pounder. Need to find out a source for who makes desert 2-pounder crewmen. Early war miniatures. Well, who makes a 2-pounder? Zvezda. Zvezda makes a 2-pounder. But they've got, you know, 1940 Northwest Europe type garb on. And the Germans have 2 pioneer squads. Jeez. That's a lot. And of course it's completely barren. But we're going to paint this guy, which he can go both ways. You know, I got troops that you gave me that are Australians that, you know, how do these guys fit in with these size-wise? I bet they're totally equivalent. They're totally compatible. These are 176, aren't they? I think the Airfix figures are marketed as 176. Yeah, I like the size of these Australians better. They're a little bit bigger. They're totally equivalent. Even got a guy with a Bren. But he's not he's not a specific Australian figure. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 figures that actually have the bush hat on. Plus you could supplement with other guys that, you know, these go both ways. In other words, these guys could just work as Brits or in the scenarios that have Brits in them. Yeah, we'll get a squad of these blokes painted up and make up our own shit, because, you know, and that's this thing that I was talking about a couple days ago. I'm like, you get this idea that you're gonna buy some scenario book that's specifically made for something, and then you get it and it's like, did you really learn anything? Are these guys just like pissing up a rope too? You know? Trying to create things out of thin air. Because why even have an infantry squad in a scenario when they're not going to shoot anything? All they're going to do is like, okay, their turn comes up. All right, hide, scamper away. You know, like they're just sitting there. And what's it going to do against a Matilda or an A-10 or anything like that? A9, we wouldn't even be able to do anything against a Marmon Harrington. Which, by the way, are in none of the scenarios. I was disappointed. They got Rolls-Royce, they got 2 Rolls-Royce armored cars. No Marmon Harringtons. So, if I get armored cars for the desert, I'll probably do my own research and figure out what it is. And get a couple of Marmon Harrington Mark IIIs and a couple of Rolls-Royces. Okay. Back to Iraqi sand. But I've always liked the 88. I've always liked that the 88 can fire while limbered. And it looks really good firing while limbering. Some vehicles, most vehicles and equipment from the Second World War looks cool. There's some things that look extra cool. And an 88 firing while limbered up looks awesome, in my opinion. It's a great looking piece of ordnance. As opposed to this is just an ugly ass duckling. You know. An RSO is ugly as shit, you know. They said a Star Grunt 2 scenario would be a gem for face of battle with a minimum amount of work. I don't think you did. Is it just like the figure composition? The hold on, was that the right? That was Iraqi Sam, wasn't it? Yeah, because it was crusty as shit. Yeah. Star Grunt. I feel like that's like a modification of something, isn't it? Star Grunt. What do you guys in England think of Australians? Uh-oh, here we go. No, I'm just, seriously, do you guys think of them like we in Florida would think of people from Arkansas? Like rednecks? Are they basically British rednecks? Appalachians. Send it through. Just the way the scenario is set up. Hit me up, man. Is it simple? Is it small? Will it provide a good narrative? So this thing drove through this dusty shit. And I really do like Plastic Soldier Company, but now I'm noticing like, oh, this has no headlight. Stuff like that I can live without. But it's like, oh, well, that's a little disappointing. That kind of thing. But robust as shit. A couple sink marks here in the bottom of them. I ain't fixing that. Ain't nobody got time for that. I came across another article. Beautiful article about how to change this and move this and custom make this and make the other thing, and this is inaccurate and this is 2 millimeters too big and all that. And then they go and paint it, and I'm like, they didn't even give it a wash or give it any depth. Oh, this looks good. This looks good now. By the time I do the weathering, it doesn't look as greedy as it should be. But that's what it should look like. It shouldn't be like, hey, well, I just got out of a car wash. And don't take an SU-76 through the car wash, because you're going to get wet if you're sitting back here. It's not mega large, but yes, it would give a great narrative. Did you send it? Where is my phone? I'd lose my ass if it wasn't connected. Oh, here it is. Let's see what we got here. Start run. Page 63, scenario 3. Okay. The rear guard. Okay. Okay, freestanding so far. In the game. Well, it definitely has a Eastern Front written all over it. Like 1944 Eastern Front. Well, that didn't work. You must push through any defending force as quick as possible, but at the same time, you know you cannot accept too many casualties. If you take too many losses, your force will not be in good enough shape to continue effective pursuit. Well, how am I going to play the Russians with that mentality? Main road running the length of the table down which the... Okay. Okay, this is where it gets interesting in the special rules. A D12? What kind of a messed up die roll is that? 3 times. Oh, that's a big scenario. Nothing. You get nothing. Could totally do this. It could totally do this, but I'd want to do it on somewhere like this table, even if it's much smaller scale, and then leave it set up, and then run through each turn, like make sure you end the session, because that way you can like roll to see what comes, and then you can have that set up for next time. Yeah, this is something that's got several T-34-85s already like thinking about that. I guess I need to paint some Russian squads, don't I? Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty unique scenario. And definitely one where you would, yeah, it could have a good, it could have a good narrative. Hell, everything I've played has had a good narrative, except the second day of that scenario that I ran. It pretty much just fizzled out. But the tank battle had a good narrative, especially since you called it, you wizard, you. Russian tank. Tracks only fallen off once. I was sitting there thinking, I don't know how somebody's going to make it to Ram. Oh, they got to Ram both times. What do I know? But you know what I'm really unmotivated to do? Make videos on how to, paint shit. Like, that just keeps me from doing the stuff I need to do to get, bring more battles? Bring more battles onto the tabletop. Other channels end up doing all the time. They hop around different scales, how to do this, how to paint this other thing. I'm figuring shit out as I go, you know? There's not one way to do this. And there's stuff I gotta finish up, so spending time editing a video and hope to God somebody watches it, that's just not my idea of a fun time. Okay. Let's go ahead and get our friend. Nope. Oh, this is the new fangled normal oil. Well, we're getting close to getting through this one. This is where we're going to see the difference. Now, let's get the brush of unusual ability. It's a brush of fantabulous ability, +3. There's this one person that I know that always their favorite word or their coin, not their favorite word, but their coin word was ginormous, and they added ginormous into the English dictionary. I would have rather seen fantabulous. I think fantabulous is a better word. For starters, it's a fantabulous word. Actually, in all seriously, one word I would like to see added into the English language is impetuate. Oh, we're going to impetuate forward. Even though I don't really play any games that are things impetuated anymore. Aww. Its use is more limited now. I mean, the content's got to be better than it used to be, because it used to be, even though we're just doing World War II stuff, but it used to be like, oh, there he is, another 24 sessions of him doing that one Roman army, you know, or more, to move to something else. But you can't hop around in that, because if you hop around in that, you don't get the army done for the tournament, for the event. I see Mark on here in a couple days. I was going to mention to him, I know that he plays World of Warships. I haven't played it all month because they decided to do a special Halloween event. Like, I don't want to freaking. I don't. What's the point in getting a ship that has a flag with a pumpkin on it? Like, that's just dumb. That's just. That doesn't appeal to us purists. Are there certain historical battles or whatever that have battle rules in them that you think are like classic? I like all those multiple entries. Like this guy comes from here. Things that are non-linear. Did they add the good ship lollipop? No, not yet. Thank goodness. They got all kinds of silly shit in there. Like, you know, it's an opportunity to get people to. Okay, yeah, it's a gamey game, but at least have people's interest up in the period. No, they just had some kind of space shit or orcs or some crap. I'm like, I don't want to play that. We'll sit this month out. That's why you don't spend money on those games, because you're like, you know what, I'm done with this. You can walk away from it, and all you did was spend time playing it. That's it. Although I did see that there was some kind of a announcement about State of Decay, whatever, the next State of Decay. I haven't read it. I haven't read the video or whatever. Haven't read the video. I haven't watched the video. All I know is I want to make the next version of State of Decay. I hope they have some better ways of customizing your figures, because man, there's some messed up looking people in my group. And I don't mind playing people with handicaps. You see an anime game with the girls that are the various World War II battleships. If we accept the pin-up nose art girls, we should be open-minded. Is that what it is? Girls that are battleships? Anime game girls that are the various World War II battleships. World War II. Is it battleships or ships? Okay, World War II battleships, anime girls. I've never seen that. What was it, Girls and Panzers? Shit. Cancole. Special human girls. Oh, of course they're special. Who don weaponized outfits and possess the spirit of historical naval vessels. Fight to save humanity. What? Okay, main characters. Nagato, Fubuki. I know what all these things are. I'm a ship person. There's like Fubuki, like really, really small compared to Nagato. I've never seen Oi spelled with two O's. Oh, they're all Japanese ships. These Japanese people are weird, man. I'm not sure what I'm looking at. Click on it. It's like Transformers. It's like girl Transformers. Battleship Girls. No, I hadn't seen this. So the first thing I would lose is, and I'm not an anime fan because all these Asian girls have these big old round puppy dog eyes. Like, where does that fit in? Like, I know it's just a style, but I'm like, I don't really care. The only anime I cared for was Battle of the Planets, and I liked that when I was 7. You know. Azure Lane. No. Oh, that makes sense. That sounds like battleships to me. These people are weird. Gamers are weird. Battleships are cool as shit. You don't have to tinker with them at all. So they're saving humanity, so they must be fighting space aliens or something like that. And they're all Japanese battleships. So the Imperial Japanese Navy is the one that's going to save the world from. I said I don't get into anime because I look at the plots of what the anime stuff is. I'm like, I don't like any of this stuff. Used to be this little ice cream, frozen yogurt, pay by the pound, self-service type thing that was really popular here in town. And it went out of business, and I don't really know why it went out of business because it literally was super, super busy, but they always would have anime playing. And I was looking at it, and I'd be like, I wouldn't want to watch that. I've yet to see any anime that catches my attention. What is that quote? We live to see man-made horrors behind your comprehension. I don't know what that's from, but sounds something Cthulhu-ish. Yeah, like they're Transformer girls or something like that. Yeah, I'm not really a fan for mixing steel and flesh. Kind of weird. Yeah, I've never seen that or Girls in Panzer, whatever the hell it's called. Oh, the Japanese don't want to use their own tanks because they suck, huh? I'd be concerned my battleship girlfriend had a bigger gun than me. You know? Watch your poop deck. Oh, battleship girlfriend. You know, if you have a make believe girlfriend, it might as well be a battleship girlfriend, right? I mean, what difference does it make? You know, I don't look for this kind of stuff, but sometimes you get these articles that are thrown at you. And one of these articles that was thrown at you is like how people, like kids in their 20s, have a hard time meeting people. I'm like, you guys should have it easy. Like, you could, like, meet people online before you ever meet them so you don't technically waste your time, but everybody's lying about who they are, so I guess it doesn't do any good. Like, what's the purpose in that? Like, you're perfect, you know, if you feel if you feel like uncomfortable like meeting somebody, like the online is like the perfect thing. You can say exactly who you are, and then when you meet somebody, they're not surprised. Like, oh, I thought you were 6'3", not 4'3", you know, or whatever. It's perfect. You don't take any risks. You're not, you know, being made fun of in public. You can just like never talk to that person again. It's like the perfect opportunity. But I guess people misuse that too. You know, because I get it. It's uncomfortable to meet somebody and you're like, man, what if they, you know, diss me or whatever in public? I get it, you know, but online would be perfect opportunity for that. Nope, they don't use it for that. Oh well. Especially when, you know, society's so accepting of everything now. It's like, man, everybody should be cool, you know. You gotta wear the right clothes or anything like that. I don't know. What do I know? I haven't been in that scene in decades. Thank goodness. It's actually for being a plain vehicle. It's really the vehicle is actually not that plain. The problem is the markings are really plain. I really should save some of these screenshots. I really should screenshot some things that I find and have a special edition. I was like, stupid shit I saw on the internet. I don't mean like random stuff. I mean like things that are that have to do with this the stuff that we talk about here, like World War II things, like stupid shit you saw on the internet related to World War II, and people's comments. They're just out of hand. There's so much misinformation and just downright ignorance. But then why would you want to? Why would you spew something that you knew was definitely wrong? Just trying to get a rise out of people, just trying to get reactions. That just seems like a waste of time, man. You're not furthering human knowledge doing things like that. I guess I wouldn't make a very good internet troll. There's an article on one of those, not an article, somebody's long ass-winded response about how a Panzer III in the desert was a piece of crap. It never did anything. It wasn't worth any good, and the Germans had just used lure them to lure the British tanks into their tank traps where they had 75 millimeter Pac 40s. They didn't have any Pac 40s in North Africa. They might have had maybe a few in Tunisia, but not, you know. That was not a. They didn't have that many 88s. The problem is the 88s that they had just had a big impact. But there was nothing wrong with a Mark III. You know, it's better than some of the British tanks. It's better than an A9 and an A10 and an A13. Well, it was no good against the 6-pounder. Well, the 6-pounders didn't start coming in until Gazala. And then only a few. 6-pounders really like a, you don't, those don't start showing up on tanks until Alamein, really, in any numbers. And yeah, it's a great gun, but did I manage to glean useful info from that link you sent to you about A13? Oh, I got lots of useful info, but I'm really not comfortable. I don't feel really good about this tank at all. The A13s are just a royal pain in the ass. A royal pain in the ass. Because I know exactly what I want. Nobody makes one. Nobody makes one. It's like, it's the most common version in the desert, and nobody makes one. So, I don't have a problem with painting this one for the desert. The thing is, I need 5 more. And I don't want this to be, the exception to the rule, and all the ones I have are the exception to the rule. And ultimately, it won't matter anybody playing other than me, but, I'm painting these for myself, so. I actually like the vehicle, but, the S model one doesn't have this additional armor, so, they really didn't have those in the desert. But not only is this one have the Vickers, which I can deal with it. I can deal with it not having a Beza and having the Vickers, but I can't deal with it having this mantlet. All of them, they don't need to have this mantlet. So, it's a beautiful model. There's nothing wrong with it. The guy can only make whatever there's files for. I even looked in other places that there's files for. There aren't any. You know, and the Chinese one I picked up from eBay is closer. It's like the right tank, except it doesn't have a base in it. The turret front is correct. Here, I'll show you. I mean, this is a better model than the Chinese one, only because it's more durable too. But you'd think with wargaming being predominantly British, that there would be, you know, more of an incentive to do your own vehicles. It's not like it's an unattractive vehicle. It's a cool friggin' vehicle. You know, I'd say that the British vehicles aren't uncool until you start getting into Northwest Europe and they're all painted like the American ones. They even have the freaking stars on them. But the desert stuff's awesome. Let's see if I can get a picture that can capture the front of the turret. So that's what it needs to look like with a Beza in it. The painted one. Now, Chad's is much better than the painted one because it doesn't have any of these 3D printed lines. But this thing's pretty delicate. It had a bunch of little parts I had to put on it. And it turned out okay until you put... I'm probably going to end up redoing it a little bit. But these are like $16 a piece. And not that durable. But I need 6 of them for that scenario. So I think I'm just going to punt, not worry about that scenario for the time being, make my own scenarios, and so be it. You know, but I looked all over the internet and I couldn't find. I couldn't find the somebody selling a file for it or anything like that. Well, so much I was thinking, it's like, man, I need to design this stuff. Like, no, I don't. I don't need to. That's a hobby for somebody who doesn't paint. Good example, Troll was a site that posted photos of Churchills and Coventers with a poster. Yeah, I left that. I left several sites. Because, you know, I didn't realize that there's people. I just figured a lot of those pictures were AI generated, but I have a feeling that is the case on some of them, and some of them just put wrong information just to have people react to them. And I'm like, you know, I don't want to be popular at the expense of looking like a moron. Like, I don't need any help doing that, you know. Putting purposefully wrong information out there, that's against the progress of the human race. It just is. I mean, somebody asks, hey, what kind of tank is it? You know, and it happens on all the forums. It happens on the car forums. Like somebody asks on something in your car, hey, what oil do you use? You know, or why is this instant working? Oh, you need to add blinker fluid. You know, just make believe bullshit. Just like, that's like the part that really annoys me on the internet. Everybody's a smart ass, and it's like, you know, it was funny the first 100 times that somebody said it, but after that, it's like, can you just like go die somewhere? Like, you know. Yeah, if you want to be nasty to somebody, don't give them a response. Say, hey, search for it. We've already solved this 50 times. Search for it in the description. But purposely putting wrong information out. So I left several of those sites because I didn't realize. I wanted to just see cool pictures. A lot of them would put pictures up I'd never seen before. And yeah, a couple of those sites that all they do is post, it's like German armor porn. Like, German armor, just German this, German the other thing. And it's cool. German tanks are cool. There's no doubt about it, you know. But, like, post other people's stuff, too, right? And this one guy that comments on all those posts is like, he does like the same comment every time where, you know, it's on these ones where all the German stuff is, who are these Germans oppressors? Will we celebrate them? No, we will remember. I forget exactly what it is, but it's like over and over posting the same thing, like, you know, basically stop promoting the German tank. It's just like, it just gets old, man. I don't have, and it's consuming my feed. You know, so I end up getting like all those posts, and I sometimes you guys will say something cool, and I don't see it because I'm getting bombarded by all these pictures on these sites that have all this wrong information. So I'm like, I gotta leave some of these groups that I don't really contribute to because it's just creating a bunch of noise. It's keeping me from, it's just running interference. There's too many groups. Just like when I was doing DBA, there was a DBA group. Awesome. Then somebody decided to create a DBA in hot. Fuck. Now there's two. Now there's two groups. To post. It's like, man, keep it simple, man. Well, should I do a show next Tuesday night, or should I just watch election coverage? I don't know. We'll see how we'll see how it plays out. I'm not doing well in the evenings, as far as staying on task. I'm tired, So I've been painting in the mornings, even on work mornings. It's just not, you know, who's going to be on in the mornings? Oh Lordy, please do a show. Just expect what you don't want to happen, and then I'm not going to comment on it. But that's the perfect example of just downright wrong information. You know, I predict one vehicle's good candidate's wheels will fall off. Why not tracks? I predict there's going to be protest. I hope there's some protest, and I hope some people get disciplined for protesting. I don't mean just protesting. I mean like people like doing like stuff they shouldn't no, that they were taught not that they should have been taught not to do growing up, and like they get punished for it. I hope that happens. There's a lot of people in every country that don't know how to behave. I'm not saying what the outcome. I'm just saying I mean there's a lot of people that just get away with burning stuff down, nothing happening to them. Like, if you burn somebody else's house, they should find your house and burn your house down. How you like them apples? There's repercussions in adulting, pal. You break into somebody's house, there should be repercussions. And not like, oh man, this guy's got a bunch of 1/72 scale stuff in 28 millimeter. Maybe I should watch The Purge. Maybe I should watch The Purge before election night. I've been wanting to watch the first movie. I haven't seen it. I may actually not like it. I don't know. Okay, I think we black-lined our way out of the first one. I think so. I don't have the black line done on this one. I don't like it. To go back and black line everything. Like really, how many videos have you guys seen of somebody that walks into a store, right? Macy's or whatever. We've seen them all the time. They usually happen in California here in the United States. They almost always happen in California. Somebody walks into a store, everybody's watching them, and they just like destroy a display case and just like, you know, start just steal. I mean, you want to see somebody like tackle them and like freaking maybe bludgeon them into the ground, you know? Like, you don't do shit like that. Nope, they just let them walk away with it. That just encourages other people to do stuff like that. Well, that person really needed that Rolex watch. They were in need. I got news for you. I don't think I've seen a Rolex watch I like. If somebody says, hey, pick one of these, I'm like, why does it have to be a Rolex? I don't really like any of these. True story. There's just some things that I don't think I'd want them if I was free. If they were free. You know, with the intention that you have to keep it and use it. Not like, oh, well, you can give me, you know, whatever you want. I wouldn't drive a Cadillac. You know, I'd drive a Cadillac before I, you know, wouldn't have a vehicle, but I'm just saying I don't want a Cadillac. I don't think I'll ever be old enough for a Cadillac. You know what? I'm going to finish one before I start working on all of them in assembly line. And it's not because I have any doubt that of how it's going to turn out. That, you know, that I'm concerned that I'm not going to be happy with how it turns out. I just like to see something finished. So let's get the black out here. We're going to need to paint a shovel. A shovel, an axe, and a hammer. I was looking at something, I forget what it was the other day, and I was like, man, this shovel doesn't look right. And you get the Osprey book on shovels of the Third Reich or something like that. Entrenching tools of the Third Reich. was actually looking at U.S. entrenching tools to figure out if the handles were wooden or dark green. Always paint them. Always paint them wooden. I mean, on some of these tools, they put the tools on and then they spray the vehicle. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, this is an opportunity to make something drab look interesting. Just like sometimes they probably wouldn't be metallic looking, but damn it, I think they look the part. These are cartoonish to some degree. Entrenching tools in the Third Reich. Not too far-fetched. But yeah, I wish I had a tea maker because I actually like the taste of tea. Okay. What else do we have on here? Well, we have that muffler, but the muffler is like a special case. Special case with a muffler. And let's see, I saved a picture of that. It's all rusty except these little clamps that attach to the hull. So let's go ahead and do that as well. We already have black. Let's get the orange out here. Coffin for, what are those things called? Coffin for Seven Brothers? Well, that's the lead, not the grant. So one thing I was reading about is all those tanks that have riveted construction were like a nightmare with the, they can get one of those rivets that could get displaced. The next thing you know, you've got this thing bouncing around, knocking people out. But, oh, I remember something I was going to mention to you guys. So, I was reading something about... God, how did it make me think about it? That yeah, on the Eastern Front, basically, whether it was the Russians or whether it was the Germans that were saying, "Hey, you need to hold at all costs." That's the part that where they did really crappy. You know, the part where Stalin's like, not 1 foot back. That's when they ended up getting encircled over in the Ukraine and all those kind of, you know, all those kind of fiascos. Same thing with the Germans. Oh, Hitler's like, oh, not 1 foot back. No, not one step back. And you know, a fluid defense seems like the way to go. But that is why they're called dictators. Alright. We got the base color on that. Let's add a little bit of more orange to it and start rustifying. And a little bit more orange. Well, the time changes here in the United States tomorrow. Not looking forward to that. Maybe one a little too orange on it. Easy to fix if I don't like it. Let's just complete it all the way through. It's about time I made a painting mistake. They don't happen very often. I mean, I don't think they happen very often. I don't discourage myself or disappoint myself too much with how things look frequently. That would be annoying. Oh, I did it again. I did a shitty job. I don't like it. What? No, I think we're actually okay. Yeah. Be right back. Now, unfortunately, all this ammunition, I think for the most part, the ammunition just has like black tips on it. It's not very vibrant. Iron Base Warriors. That's it. There's not a whole lot of tools and stuff on there. To the two handles, because we don't want them in green, because that's a detail we can add on there. These things are asking for having little red stars on them, just something to brighten them up a little bit. I'm gonna show some restraint. Maybe I'll put a red star on one of them, one of the three. I know they were rare, but I don't want to do more than a third of them. You guys see that photo etch stuff on that Skiff T26? What a pain in the ass that is. Like, I'm a pretty patient guy. If I have like how the hell are we gonna move forward and deal with this? I think it's gonna be a problem if I'm having that kind of problems with it. Let me do one thing I haven't had to do on the other models, and that's add this on the barrel. For some reason, this one didn't keep the smoky color of it. This is the exhaust. Mr. Beige Brown. Well, we don't have to use beige brown. We can use a different one. Let's use this leather brown. Yeah. Well, one thing I forgot to do is you need to do it on a hard surface. So I went back to that piece and tried to trim it. I trimmed it. I just don't know how the hell I'm going to bend it now. Like this should give you like, is it balsa wood planes that literally give you something to lay out and you can lay off the piece next to it and then cut it just like it's on that piece? This should give you something like that. I haven't given up on it yet. I'm just not going to, you know, sometimes you want to make some progress on something so you can feel good about having completed something. And just sitting there and spinning your wheels is just not, boy, I don't like these new Viejos with this wafer thin plastic looking thing. Plastic container. It's like a cheap water bottle. But honestly, these are the best brushes I've bought recently. These actually have been really, really good. And I got them at Hobby Lobby. They're a brand called Royal and Langnickel. And they've been pretty decent. Of course, I think every other week they got them like half off or 40% off or something like that. That's the week you want to buy them. You don't want to buy them on the week that they're not. I just think, you know, you can buy twice as many. You can get twice as many as you would normally get if you buy them on the week that they're, you know, they cost half as much. Think of it that way. Sounds like an insult. That guy's a royal pain in the ass. No, he's worse. He's a royal Langnickel. Need to buy some paint, likely Vallejo. Yep. It's certainly the one that's the easiest for me to get. Pussyfoot's Paradise has a whole selection of them, and the game color. Where's my soft tone? I was thinking about getting one that's a little bit rustier than this one, but I think this brown is fine. I don't like super bright rust. You guys have a Hobby Lobby in New York, or where do you go to get paint? That what's the name of that place? The Complete Strategist? The Complete Strategist? I got a lot of stuff packed into that place. And there's a lot of stuff in it that doesn't interest me at all. You know, like anime girls in battleship costumes kind of stuff. War Paint Soft Tone. Yeah, this one is War Paints. Yeah. War Paints, yeah. Army Painter. Soft Tone. Yeah, it's actually the wash that I got for the desert. But I like the using the strong tone for all the washes. We're gonna come back with the base color anyways, so we're gonna a little bit of rust came up on top of these little things, whatever the hell they are, and then we're going to drip a little bit. Nothing crazy, but just it adds a little bit of something else there. Where there's hinges, there's bare metal. And where there's bare metal, there's going to be rust. There's a hinge here, so we're going to rust that around the hinge. And I actually like these washes they're really kind of, they don't cover really well, which means you can go over them if you need to, but you don't like overpower it the first time you put it on there. I want to have some of this that drips over the number. Oh man, I missed that whole section. Damn me. How stupid of me. You'll probably buy some more plastic soldiers. Stay tuned for round 2, gifted in a new year. Well, easy, man. I want to use some of your stuff. I think they're going to work. I think this is pretty... I feel pretty comfortable this is the base thing. What do you need? You need anything? You need to send me like a stuff that... Cause I got plenty. I don't have them in like this. Mine are all like popped out of the... I got lots of Airfix guys and... Most of them were pretty decent. As long as we're not talking about like Atlantic figures. Those are ass. Okay? Atlantic figures are terrible. I actually like the art on their boxes, but the actual figures are just trash. Their tanks are worse. Alright, we still have, this is black, right? Yeah, okay. And this is orange. Alright, let's, how stupid of me not to have finished the job. Finish him. I was distracted by girls dressed up as battleships. Now these do have crew members, and I don't mind putting the crew members in there, but I don't want them to be permanently in there if I don't have to. Like all my tank crewmen, even though the tank hatch is open, I don't have the crew member that's stuck in there. Breakfast time. All right, man. Go feed the ladies. there's that. As we were. The rusty drippings. Oh, I see some latches. Yeah, it looks pretty decent. Looks pretty decent. It's a good vehicle to use for my game because there's a 76 millimeter gun. That's it. There's no coax machine gun that can be tearing the world up. And looks a lot better than the vehicle. It's not weathered at all. What is this thing? Yeah, this just like washes everything out so much. That's not what it's like. That's not what it looks like. Let's put it on auto. That's better than before. It's getting there. It's just not really what it looks like. That's why I don't like taking photos of my stuff. I'm like, that's not what I see. I don't see that. Now, I believe we used Russian green for this. I believe this is a Russian green core vehicle. So let me find Russian green, wherever the hell it is. Here it is. Okay. This is the old Russian green because 894 looks different now. It's more yellower. Okay, and a little bit of dark sand, which is a lightener that I used on here. And we're going to put what I call the scratches. Nothing big, just a little something. How long have we been on here? Jeez, 3 hours? Holy smokes. Holy smokes. I think this thing looks pretty good. And considering it has a basic numbering sequence on it, you know, if I'd add some bags or something to it, but I don't want to get bogged down in that minutia. Bag minutia. I'm gonna use little boy's room. I'll be right back. Yeah, there's. I want to say one of the Kursk scenarios has a couple of these, a pair of them. Might be more than a Kursk scenario has. Might be one more than one that has some of these guys. Actually, I'm gonna take a look at that. I got two Kursk boats. The Gross, I think they're in the Red Guards one, not the Gross Deutschland one. Red Guards at Kursk. Let's see. I think they're in the red guards. Not there. What's in there actually has a elephant in it. I mean, oh, here's called elephant. It should be actually a Ferdinand. It's a Kursk. Let's see. A couple T-70s. SU-152. Oh, there's actually two Ferdinands in that one. It's a lot of hidey holes on that board. Nope. Nope. Maybe they're in the Gross Deutschland one. Verkopenia Woods. Verkopenia, here he is, two SU-76s. Berezovka Warehouse. Yeah, that's a big scenario. Couple Panthers. Six T-34s, got them. Two SU-76s, motorized infantry squad. Germans have a 75mm infantry gun and a squad and a half track. Okay, what's the map look like? Whoa, a shit show. Lots of woods and stuff. With really narrow gaps between these woods. What is this? It's a dirt road. And this gap in between these two woods is like 6 inches. It's got a 6-inch gap. You got no business bringing tanks that close to something. Maybe that was it. Built 247. It has so much stuff on it, but this has these huge cornfields. Which, I got lots of indoor-outdoor carpet that looks just like that. Alright, well that was entertaining. Let's put this away. Don't throw things on the ground. The next thing you know, I wonder why I can't get in my room. Yeah, this looks pretty decent. It certainly looks a lot better than it did this morning. There's enough little details on it. Just the numbering and the details just a little lacking. Just a little lacking. All right, let's black line this one. Actually, it's 8:30. I'm going to go ahead and we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop for today, for this morning. How'd these colors turn out? Now that they're plenty dry. I think we'll be fine over this. Anyhow, thanks for stopping by.